Hi, friends. It's Joe Chadburn with the International Peace Network. I'm here today with my precious sister, Rusul Ghnei. She's a 28-year-old mother who's expecting a third child in February. She's a former materials engineering student and a current senior student at Roosevelt University, majoring in healthcare administration. She arrived in the U.S. in 2015 and represented the refugees of Iraq at the first refugee youth consultation held in Washington, D.C. in 2016. She also volunteered at Iraqi Mutual Aid Society to serve her community, currently known as MIRA. Now, I've got a beautiful story of how we met. We were at the Reach Education Fund table at the American Muslims for Palestine convention in Chicago last weekend. I saw her two precious children were at the table. I looked up and there were the most sweet, gentle, kind eyes of their mom that was just hovering over them and doting on them. And I was just so taken aback with her kindness. And we began talking and kind of exchanging, information of who we are. And I asked her, I said, your story really intrigues me. I would like to know more. And I would like for my friends to know more about this situation. So she is a precious, precious sister. It was such a thing. I believe it was a divine appointment from Allah that we met. And I'm just really looking forward to our time together. Welcome, my dear sister.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you so much. Okay. First question here. Okay. What challenges did you face as a child during the American invasion of Iraq?
Well, so I actually came out with, believe it or not, with the good and bad core memories. And especially after living in the US for almost 10 years, I learned that it all came from the politicians, not the people. Like, for instance, I remember that in 2004, we were fueling gas from an Amriya gas station. And we dropped my dad 1 block away from the gas station to purchase a few items. And my mom headed to the gas station to fuel. There was a long line to wait since there was war and it was pretty much hard to get gas. So we were waiting. I was sitting in the back seat with my infant baby brother. I was holding him. And since there was, like no car seats back then, the American tanks drove by the waiting line, and all of a sudden the fourth car that was in the line behind of us exploded, and our windshields crashed. So I had to momently put my infant brother on the car mat, and I laid on top of him to keep him safe. And then the American soldiers came to investigate the scene. And what usually used to happen with most of the explosions was after the bombing, whoever planned that explosion will wait for a while in order for the civilians to gather to aid the injured ones. Then they initiate another bomb to get as many innocent people killed as possible. So the soldiers evacuated the gas station waiting line because they suspected another explosion. And suddenly my mom started to run toward the bombing site and yelling, my husband, I just dropped him there. She was crying and shaking, but of course the soldiers holded her behind and prevented her from going any further. We were trying to call him with no luck. Then we found out that, alhamdulillah, he was badly injured and fainted due to losing so much blood, until one of the American soldiers found him and on the street and carried him into the tank and gave him a proper first aid, then dropped him to the ER. And that was one of the good core memories that made me believe that bad intentions come from the leaders, not the civilians of the US. And also I remember that one day my mom almost crashed into an American military tank. She was driving the car and we were literally shaking because we thought they may like shoot and kill us. But instead, one of the soldiers came out and handed my oldest brother a bag of candy. And of course, like on the other hand, there were so much horrific memories. One of them was on 2003, the night that the US invaded Iraq. I remember that my dad stood at the front yard looking at the horrific fire rising to the sky caused by the Skyforce bombing and destroying the Iraqi infrastructure. To me, it looked as same as the pictures we saw when the terrorist organization of Israel bombed Gaza. I was afraid to get killed. I was begging my dad to get home and close the door, but he only calmed me and insisted on keep looking on the mass destruction that was happening while I was reading the Quran to bring me peace, to bring peace to my heart, and pray Allah to protect my family. And one last thing to mention is we all watched the documentaries about the US sniper who was shooting civilians out of fun, or the devastating torture at Abu Ghraib prison by the American soldiers. They were humiliating prisoners by forcing them to get naked and release the dogs on them and torture them to death. The exact same behavior we witnessed from the Zionist soldiers nowadays. And the killing, kidnapping, bombing due to the war escalated so badly in a way that it was normal to see dead bodies lying on the streets. So many incidents that I got not enough time to mention, like me as a child hiding behind the bushes by myself, fearing that an American tank may shoot me, and so much more memories. Yet, I really want to bring up one of the American war crimes that the US government never actually got punished on it, which was bombing Al Amriya shelter. According to Al Jazeera in English on 1991, more than 400 Iraqi civilians got burned and killed in what became the deadliest incident of civilian casualties. I don't carry that much info about the incidents because it took place before I was born. Yet I really encourage people to read and do more research about it.
Yes. I am like literally twice your age, and I haven't encountered the things that you have. Um, just as a human, and according to my Christian faith, this just rocks me, to the core. It hurts me when I see what I'm seeing right now, and when I recollect on George W. Bush's shock and awe, and the atrocities at Abu Ghraib, and these other things that you're talking about. I appreciate your heart that you spoke about the good things that American military members had done for your family, and that's beautiful as well. And I don't want to discredit that. But I can't even imagine how, looking at what is happening in Gaza right now, and there's got to be there's you're human, so there's trauma, there's memories that come up. So this must hurt you like a millionfold compared to how it hurts me. And I want you to know I don't pretend to know exactly what you're going through, but you're in my prayers, and the people of Iraq, and right now especially the people of Palestine and Gaza in particular. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. What was your experience when you arrived in the U.S. as a refugee?
Well, when I came to the US, one of the reasons that brought me and my family here was freedom, like freedom of speech, being safe, democracy, and just political system, at least that what we have been told by social media. So when I started to attend college, one of the classes that I studied was political science. And ironically, I was a Muslim Iraqi student who witnessed the war, sitting in the classroom learning with the US education system claiming that happened during the war against my people. And I found out that there is a whole chapter in the book teaching students how the Muslims take the Saudi Arabian leaders as their god. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
How we take the Saudi Arabian leaders as our God, which in fact, especially after what is happening with the Gaza war, we don't even count them as our leaders anymore. And how the Muslims are terrorists, are taking advantages and taking every chance to hurt Americans and hate American people, and how like what are the main reasons the US invaded Iraq. It was the same excuses that the Israeli government have been giving to bomb Al-Shifa hospital or bomb civilian houses, which is like we suspected a nuclear weapons, which it was all false information. Or like the Iraqi citizens called us to free them and to bring them democracy and bring them better education, technologies, etc. Well, I remember when I was a child, my parents would have let me play outside till night because everything was safe. We had electricity, we had clean water to drink, we had everything. But after the war, until this day, people of Iraq don't have enough water to drink. It's not even drinkable for human beings. They have no electricity because all the infrastructure of Iraq have been destroyed. Everything have been bombed. Like getting cold is like easy over there. And I remember that I was so frustrating in that class, so I had to leave the classroom for hearing my teacher calling my people terrorists.
Yes.
And I explained what I have been going through when I was a child during the war. And my teacher, that's why I have been saying it's not the people, it's the government. He came to me and he said, consider that chapter not including in our final test because it's our leader who were the terrorists, not you. You did not cause any harm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's, man. I'm sorry you had to go through all that, but I really appreciate your spirit right now and your heart. That is amazing. You know, how has the treatment overall been since you've been in the United States? Have you been able to make a lot of friends?
Of course.
Yes.
So many, especially the neighbors.
Yes. Well, that's good. That's good. And I would attribute that a lot because I've met you and you're so likable.
Thank you.
So wonderful and kind. I'd like to have, I wish my neighborhood was full of folks like you. You're amazing. And thank you so much. And I appreciate you being so candid about this situation here. Why do you stand in solidarity with the oppressed victims of Palestine right now? This is a no-brainer, but this is a question you asked me to ask you, so I'm addressing it.
Well, believe it or not, there are so much people don't really know why people are standing with Palestine, even though we know this is the right thing to do. But like in my case, because I did not have the chance to stand with my people during the war, since I was just a child back then, and whenever I do research about how ugly things have become after the war, I feel bad for my people, and what is happening to the people of Palestine is even way more horrific, and I can relate it to what happened with the Iraqi people. Not only the photos and videos that we have seen after October 7th were inhuman, but the Israeli soldiers have been doing to the Palestinians since 1948 were inhuman. Like I learned about the settlements thing only 4 years ago. It doesn't make sense that someone can knock on your door and tells you, "Well, get out. This is my home now," and you be like, "What you mean? I built that home with my own hands." And if you did not comply and leave your home, the soldiers will simply brutally assault you and arrest you. Also, you will get a fine for troubling the new settlers to throw out your furniture out on the streets. And in some occasions, you will receive a letter stating that the new settlers want to build a new home on your land, and if you did not demolish your home with your own hands, the Israeli government will demolish it, arrest you for not complying, and then charge you and make you pay for the people who demolished your home. It's unbelievable in just in human behaviors, and so much more that I have learned from my Palestinian friends, like seeing like the siege on Gaza, and that they cannot leave or travel outside of Palestine, or if someone had the chance to do so, he or she won't be able to come back to their country. And
These things are happening to Muslims and Christians, Palestinian Christians, many who can
exactly,
trace their genealogy back to the very first Jewish disciples of Jesus himself. So this is so sad. And
it is
I say, when I look at the things that have been destroyed, I think it's the third oldest
the
church in
church.
the world in Gaza. When I look, it reminds me of just bombing the cradle of our faith. When you look at Iraq, this is where Abraham came from, the Ur of the Chaldees, that our scripture tells us. And so we all have an interest in this civilization and preserving the beauty of it and the rich history, and that is that is Muslims, Jews, and Christians, all three
Yes,
Abrahamic faiths. We really, you don't bomb, you just don't bomb and destroy. It's a horrible thing, and when we do it, when we hurt humanity, we're hurting ourselves, because when it comes right down to it, we are all related, but we just don't act like it. We go back far enough. We are human beings. We should love each other. We should care for each other, regardless of skin color, religion, ethnicity, or any kind of, political beliefs, anything like that. When it comes down to it, the core of it all is we are human. And I come against any theology that tries to defy that, or to try to make you or a Jewish person or an atheist or anybody less human than I am or anybody else. We need to realize that. And sorry, I'm not meaning to get on my preaching soapbox here, but this is a human rights thing, because what the world allows to happen to one group now can turn full circle on
correct.
those who are perpetrating it, and empires don't last forever. So we need to, when I see, I'm telling you, when I see a Palestinian baby who has been charred to death by an American bomb dropped by an Israeli pilot, that is my child. Okay, that is my child. That is my blood when it comes down to it, because this is a human being. Okay, I would be upset if they were doing it to dogs. Okay, I love all creatures. All right, I don't want to see them bombing beautiful trees or architecture. But to me, the apex of Allah's creation, and don't let that freak you out, Christians and other people, Americans. That's the word for God. That's the Arabic word for God that Christians in the Middle East use. Okay, Arabic speaking Christians use. So, but we need to get back to just our humanity, and just restoring that dignity and that brotherly love, and cut out the stereotypes and get to learn people. The greatest way to make this world a better place, okay, is to reach out and make friends with people who don't look like you or believe like you. And it changes everything, because you'll see all the beautiful things that you have in common. And then the differences really don't matter, because we can respect each other's humanity, respect each other's lives, and respect what God, Allah, has placed us on the earth for. And it is to bless each other. So the interview's for you. So I'm going to stop there. But do you have anything to add to that?
Jazakallah khair, brother. Well, have you seen the videos of the Muslims of Gaza pulling out the Christian people from under the rebels?
Absolutely.
After, like, the Israeli government have bombed the church, like, I saw the Muslims were really affected and saddened by destroying this historic place. And
Yes.
I saw videos for Israeli settlers spitting on preachers, which was kind of disgusting.
Yes. Muslims and Christians protect each other and love one another in the Holy Land. The idea that they've been fighting for,
It's mentioned in the Quran. I don't know if you
centuries.
have read that verse in the Quran that the Christians are closer to Muslims.
I mean, that's beautiful, and it's something that a lot of people, again, don't know, but we do have so much in common. Yes. All right. Well, another question here. What can we all offer the people of Palestine to show our support right now?
Sure. So always speak up, because we all know that every big decision that that may cause change comes out of the American Congress. So by being an American citizen living in the US, me personally, I have a voice and I can work on changing the American narrative and win the public opinion, like by spreading awareness to those who have been unfortunately unable to pursue true information regarding the situation in Gaza and the Israeli crimes on Palestinian people, due, of course, to Western social media brainwashing and propaganda. And by doing that, along with understanding the lobbying system and education people to do more donations toward the lobbying to get more legislation in support of Palestine passed, I think that what we all can do so far, beside praying a lot to protect them. And
Yes.
yeah.
And one of the best, regardless of what your religion but in my opinion, one of the best organizations that you can donate to or get in touch with or that will connect you with people is American Muslims for Palestine, because they have beautiful people, precious people, scholars, legal minds, those people who who strive for peaceful coexistence, and they want to live in unity and harmony with all people. They just want peaceful coexistence with justice for all. That's what I hear at every single convention I go to. That is the message. It's a beautiful one. People have so much dignity and love. And I just love to see everybody with their children running around and just loving each other. I'll tell you, you will not find more precious family love and affection in any other ethnic group or religion than you will with Middle Eastern people and Middle Eastern Muslims. Okay, I promise you, it's just a fact. Okay, and I'm predominantly Portuguese, Italian, I have a Scottish surname, and there's a bunch of European mixture in there. So I know what it is to be around family and to love people, and I just feel so at home when I am amongst my Palestinian Muslim brothers and sisters and the precious Jewish people that are there and the Christians. And that's so powerful. Yes. Yes. And again, to frame, we have to frame this situation. We're talking about 75 plus years. Nothing started on October 7th. Okay.
Exactly.
We are talking about 75 plus years of ethnic cleansing, genocide, apartheid, heinous crimes against the Palestinian people, Christians, Muslims, and otherwise, for 75 plus years. Okay. And I've said it, this is not my sister saying this, but I know this as an American, and I say this all the time. Hamas is simply what most every gun-toting American would be if anyone did to the United States what the Israelis have done to the Palestinians for the last 75 plus years. And you can't listen to that. If you're intellectually honest, you have to say, that's true. We would be called, if this was us, we'd be patriots. We'd be saying USA, USA. We'd be freedom fighters. You wouldn't want to be called terrorists. Okay. And I'm not one. I hate war. I hate violence. I'm not condoning any of that. I hate to see a human body dead. Each and every one is my sister and brother in humanity. So do not take my words out of context. But I'm saying that for the sake of people who are so hypocritical about this issue and are really not looking at this through a proper and fair paradigm. So, yes.
I mean, it's an international law. Like, the people have the right to defend themselves on their land. They like, Palestinians have not, like, wasn't fighting on another land. Israelis are fighting on someone else's land, so they don't have the right to defend themselves. According to the international law, it's not us.
Yes, that's correct. Now, our next question we both got a little bit, yes, the conversation causes us to speak up. The topic does. So, but I will here. Okay. Please describe Israel's actions over the past 75 plus years, along with your feelings about the United States' support of the Israeli regime.
So I deeply, deeply believe that the Israeli people knew the big effect that the US government have on the world. So instead of bringing tanks to invade the Congress to control to control the decisions that comes out of the American Congress, all they needed was money to bribe the congressmen and pushing as many of their people into the Congress as possible. I mean, how can we explain that the U.S. government still could not accomplish a universal health care for the U.S. citizens? There are people who suffered from bad injuries yet afraid to visit the ER because they cannot afford the charges, while the U.S. is sending aids to the Israeli government to offer free health care for their citizens. Or how can we explain when Biden wanted to provide a debt relief for U.S. students, he got sued in the court and could not offer that aid, who I am personally was in need for it, while Israeli citizens get access to free education due to the U.S. aid. It's clear that the U.S. Congress is fully invaded by Israeli people, and the legislations are initiated in favor of the Israeli citizens rather than the Americans. And to even prove that, during the war of Israel on Gaza, like, our speech got censored and silenced by the government or AIPAC, or like, people got killed for saying free Palestine, and so many got threatening letters. There are politicians who offered money to stand with Israel, and so much more to talk about. But of course, you have better idea about it.
Yes, the whole thing, when you look at AIPAC and you look at Kufi, you're looking at election interference. They were screaming about election interference, about the Russians and the Chinese and everybody else. Well, no one interferes in elections more than Israel and the United States, with regime change wars and puppet dictators and everything else. And it is really disgusting. And there's no amount of American money or blood that is too much for Netanyahu's regime. They are willing to pay whatever price it is with American blood and American money. And yes, we need to speak up against this, because when you have, when they're trying to pass laws where I can speak against my own government, but I can't speak against a foreign entity, there is something really wrong when you're trying to take away my First Amendment rights, my freedom of speech, for speaking about a foreign government, when I can criticize Joe Biden and everybody in Congress that I want to, okay, unscathed. So this is something you better, if you're listening to this, you better take this very, very seriously, because people are messing with your rights. But the reason they're trying to clamp down on all this is because their propaganda, the Hasbara, Hasbara, you can Google it, research it. The Israeli propaganda arm is so strong, but it is losing. Because they do not have the truth. We have the truth. That's why they lose. They have to keep making up lies and keep pressing the same narrative with the same buzzwords and phrases. And right now, people, especially the younger generation, are not buying what they're selling, especially when they're able to see with their own eyes what's happening. And I'm going to say, if you're not seeing, you won't see it on the American media a lot. But I dare you to go to Al Jazeera English Live on YouTube and watch the footage for yourself, okay? Listen to what international news outlets are saying. Watch, reports on social media. See what's happening firsthand. We're living in the day. See, this Holocaust is much more difficult to get away with. All right, because it is being televised and people are broadcasting it all over social media. So this isn't like what happened in 1940. This is something that Israel is just being so brazen and outright and doing it, bombing hospitals and making fake evidence with like a calendar on the wall that's supposed to be have names of Hamas terrorists on it. And the guy is reading in the wrong direction of how you're supposed to read Arabic. And they're not names of terrorists, unless Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are all Hamas terrorist names. Okay, those are not terrorists. This is propaganda, but they made themselves look like such fools. Okay, and everybody is realizing it. They are using what happened on October 7th for ethnic cleansing and genocide is exactly what they're doing. And personally, I don't believe that there was an intelligence flaw. I believe that this was something that was permitted to happen. And when you look at the reports, okay, contrary to what my congressman, Joe Biden, everybody else, the whole beheaded baby thing has been debunked. And you'll find out that Israel has killed a lot of their own people. Also research how Hamas actually treated Israelis versus the way Palestinians were treated. And this thing didn't start on October 7th. They have been imprisoning, especially I know this on the West Bank, Christians and Muslims, little boys, women, girls, okay, doing the most heinous, hideous things to them that I'm not even going to talk about right now, okay? Because my sister's here. I might talk about it in the future, but it is that absolutely disgusting. And anyone who wants to talk with me about that, you can message me on Facebook. You can go to internationalpeacenetwork.org, fill out the contact form, and I'll be more than happy to talk with you and show you the evidence of what has happened here and to reason with you. And I'm a Christian theologian. I can reason theologically, historically, morally. I'm telling you, if you stand with Israel, you do not have a moral, theological, or historical leg to stand on. The truth is the truth is just truth. Truth doesn't even take a side. Truth is just truth. And I believe truth will prevail, and you cannot erase the Palestinians. The diaspora is all over the place. They're brilliant, they're beautiful, they're wonderful, and they will never, ever, ever forget this. Just like the Holocaust and what they've done, and this is a shame that what they've done to precious Jewish Holocaust victims and survivors, what they have done is put a big asterisk on that, and it gets larger the more Netanyahu's regime continues with the war crimes and the genocide that is happening in Gaza right now. Correct. My dear sister, I believe we could go on and talk for ages here, okay? And what I want to do is the lines of communication are always open. So email me, text me, you have my information. Anytime you want to talk, whenever something is on your heart, that's what I do here. I want to facilitate a platform for people to be able to share their hearts. So is there anything else that you'd like to share with those? This is going to be on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere I can do. So this is going to be in groups and shared all over the place. So if you have anything that you'd like to share with the audience.
I wish everyone can contact and stay in touch with their elected officials. I know what the response is going to be because I already made a lot of phone calls. I have been sending so many emails. Like my emails will be like, we need to do something regarding the innocent people that have been killed in Gaza, and we need to stop the US aid to Israel. And what response I get is that we stand in solidity with Israel. Like we are doing our best to protect our ally in Israel. Like this is not even why I have been texting or emailing you guys. I know it's disappointing responses, but keep in touch with them. I know they count every email and every phone call that they receive.
Yes. And sometimes too, you can talk with a staffer who is more open.
Correct.
That's just like I called a Christian organization who was raising money for Jewish Holocaust victims in Israel. And I'm like, we are sending $3.8 billion to them, okay? They have free education, free healthcare, either free, stolen, or heavily subsidized housing, okay?
Right.
And they have this huge advertising budget on social media, and they're paying off all these politicians in America. And you mean to tell me that you've got Holocaust victims who are homeless or starving or in need, and you're raising money for them? And the lady was like, she had no clue, okay? And most Americans don't think about this. But if you really care about Holocaust victims, and I do, okay, I don't mind giving to Holocaust victims. Okay, I don't care where they are if I really know that it's going to get to them. And no Holocaust victim. These people are so old right now. None of them should be homeless. None of them should worry about where their next meal is coming from. Not one person. And whether not one Jewish person, Muslim person, Christian person, atheist, nobody on this earth should be starving, should lack clean water, should lack health care, should lack basic human love from mankind. So Jesus said, blessed are the peacemakers. So he obviously thought it could be accomplished, and I'm in his camps. So I believe that 100%. Yes. Well, my dear sister, I this has been a pleasure. It was such a pleasure meeting you in Chicago, and I hope this isn't our last conversation, because this has been amazing. And I'm going to say this, if any of you who are watching, if you have questions, please let me know on YouTube or through the internationalpeacenetwork.org or on Facebook. And maybe my sister Azul and I, we can get together again, and she can answer your questions, because especially her, because she was there in Iraq during all of the heinous atrocities, everything that happened. And in the midst of that, she has a heart to speak well of the American soldiers that helped her and her family. And I find that to be beautiful, as well as some of you may be experiencing trauma. You may be hurting right now. You may just need somebody to talk to. So, we want to make sure that we're open to helping you and being a blessing to you. Anything else, sis?
That's all for today. Thank you for talking.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, God bless you, my dear friend. You are a precious, precious sister. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, brother. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.